My name is Milan Gabor, and I will be telling you a little bit more about security and security testing. So the title of my presentation is, Can I Touch You There? So it's a little bit provocative, but I promise you there won't be any physical touching, so I won't touch you, physically. So I promise. Okay, who am I? Actually, 13, 14 years ago, I've been developer. I was also doing the testing. But now I'm not doing testing like you know, or how do you test? Because I'm the pen tester. So normally I come after you tested your software. I'm ethical hacker. I'm even certified ethical hacker. I'm the trainer. But mostly I'm the breaker, so I break stuff. Why did I switch sides from development to the breaking? Because it's much easier. You know, the building software is much more harder. To break stuff, sometimes you need a minute or 10 minutes or an hour or even a day. But to build a software, you know, it takes quite some time. And I also did a lot of presentation all around the world at major security conferences. And I'm really lucky to be also at TestCon here in Moscow. But beside that I'm ethical hacker, pen testers and the software testers, we do have some things in common, right? Do you agree? Yeah. Yes. What do you think we have in common? Well, yeah, well, we break stuff, but we also tell developers that their baby is really ugly. You know, so this is the job that we are doing, the software testers and also the pen testers. We're telling the owners of the software, owners of the application, owners of the systems that their baby is ugly. But what's the other difference between the software testers and the pen testers? You see, the software testers here are somewhere here. We have heard, you know, shifting left, up, right, down, you know, shifting left. So maybe you're also already here. But majority of the testing is done here, and the pen testing is done here. And also, if you look the width of these arrows, you see that you have so much more time to test the software than we do. Because normally we are engaged for several days, maybe a week, to do the security testing. And later we're going to also see that you have so much better positions to test security than we do. Because you have more time, you have the data, you have the test plans and everything. So let's see what's the current status about the security and the testing and also the issues that can be found. Probably you know the Facebook, right? Do you think Facebook does testing? Yes, but they still can find the flaws in the Facebook, right? What do you think about the Ticketmaster? I know some of my friends, they got breached because the JavaScript in Ticketmaster was stealing their credit cards. And they got deducted their credit cards even after 6 months of the breach period. British Airways, you know, it's the same thing. They have a large testing team, but still they have flaws in their applications. Or if we go through this, you know, this is from yesterday. So a researcher prints pawned on hundreds of GPS watches maps due to unfixed API. So this is from yesterday, fresh. So you see, he actually wrote using the API pawned on a map. And other stuff, you know, yesterday, Crystal also mentioned the mobile testing. One guy actually tested 30 financial mobile apps. This is also from yesterday, from the tweet. When she was giving a presentation, the tweet appeared there. And he found several critical issues in that mobile application, which were mainly financial, so e-banking, loans, and stuff like that. So the question is, don't they do testing, or how the testing is performed? And also, since Slovenia is the country where I come from, last few years we have been heavily involved in crypto. You know, and crypto, you know, we have seen that they're also not doing so good testing, because I'm, you know, looking at the crypto, and I also tested some smart contracts and ICOs. It's the same like software development in '96, you know, 20 years ago. Why? Because, for example, if we take this device, which has software and it has hardware, actually 15-year-old guy showed that can be easily abused, really easily abused. So 15-year-old programmer discovered a flaw in this. And also, on the other hand, we have some smart contracts, you know, and the bugs that we have been seeing for say 20 years ago. So simple buffer overflow. And if we are reading here, you know, if you put the value that has 63 zeros, so 1 and 63 zeros, it comes to the overflow, and you get so much money on your digital wallet, you know. You can actually empty their wallet. It's so simple. Is it hard to test this? Is it hard to write a test case that inputs a value for amount of money with 63 zeros? So 1 and 63 zeros. Is it hard to test? Is it hard to write a test case? Probably not. Why didn't test it? Good question. So what was the motivation for my for my talk? Here, when I saw that there is a call for paper, what's actually motivated me to be here and to talk to you? We analyzed our own results. So the results of the pen tests, different web applications from last 2 years. So we compared these results with knowledge of juniors or newcomers who are coming to our company. And I said, well, you know, since our junior doesn't know so much, maybe also the tester could fix or could see or could find these bugs. And the results of this analysis was that almost 20% of the issues can be easily detected by different tools. So if you're running some kind of tools, or you're using tools, or let's say some kind of manual testing, already 20% of the issues that we found in our pen test could be eliminated in a testing process already, because the tools should be eliminated. I will show you some of the examples later on. You're going to see that sometimes it's not so hard to find the security issues. And a very interesting thing was that around 15% of the issues can be tested with no special tools, just browser. So if we were testing the web application, you would only need a browser to find that issue. But also it's true that 20% of this, majority of these issues are really low and some medium. So why we decide to do this? Because during the pen tests, you know, we need to write a report, right? And we need to cover all minor and low and medium also issues. And my idea was, if the testers would find this in the testing process, or during the application development, during the application testing phase, we could actually focus on more critical stuff that might be security related in that application. So what's actually security testing? Well, it's almost like testing, but you need to have some, let's say, additional focus. You know, you should be a little bit. So I will have one hypothesis later, but you should be a little bit criminal-minded when you should do the testing, the security of the application. Some of them are laughing, but it's true, you know, because you have to switch. You have to switch the mindset. And on the other hand, you shouldn't be afraid. Who thinks security testing is hard? Oh, come on, it's not that hard. You're going to see. One character, sometimes, it can lead to database dump. You know, only one single character, but you have to know which character is that. You should also think that common vulnerabilities and scenarios, how can we exploit this? You know, that's why I said you need a little bit mental shift, you know, not just testing, but thinking outside of something. You should definitely use tools for security testing, but probably as a testers, you're used to use tools, right? Who doesn't use tools in testing? Anybody? Everybody uses, so probably it won't be a problem to use the tools. And of course, you have to enjoy. Who is enjoying testing? What about the rest of you? Well, so half of the guys are enjoying, It's really fun, it should be fun. What are some other challenges of security testing? You need to identify unintended functions, because any developers here? Okay, only one. I say developers are special kind of species, right? Special kind of persons, right? So we have one person in a room who is special. Developers, because, it's like, developers are, it's like, I've been developer, I know how this feels, You should be also testing data that application is not expecting. So as you've seen, that number with the smart contract there in crypto, 1 with 63 zeros. So you have to think outside of the box. You should try to get unintended responses. So you should try to abuse the application so it tells you not, okay, you did a good job, no, you did a bad job. And you should try to identify some unplanned workflows because, what's called in your language, in testing language, happy path? Is this happy path? You're always following the happy. You should try to follow not happy path because it's unplanned workflows is that good way or good direction where you can find the security issues. And it's also true that sometimes it's not trivial and simple tasks because it depends from the complexity of the application. But this character sometimes, if you try to put, just one apostrophe in the applications, it might get you a really good start to think. This one, if you put this one into some kind of text field and it gets you like kind of error from the back end of the server, you're in a good way to find SQL injections error. It's not so many, we don't find so many SQL injections lately. Why? Because of usage of different frameworks, but still, there are plenty of them there. Okay, I stole this from one presentation from Eurostar software testing. I wrote it because last week the EU changed something regarding the copyrights and the European. So what are the motivations with the testers? And characteristics. So probably repeatable and predictable evidence. Hackers, we are a little bit more heuristics. So we are not testing and repeating everything, by the steps. We are trying to go outside of the box. There are some advantages. I won't read through them all, but definitely, weakness is there on happy path. And this is the problem. That was also one of the reasons that I sent a call for paper for this conference, because last year I gave presentation in Dublin, also to the security and QA people, and I saw there is actually, testers don't have any or little security expertise because on the other hand, it's not so hard. But you can contribute a really lot to the security. Because you can do a much more testing that we are doing. Because normally, as I said, we have several days, only a couple of days to do the security testing. You have the logs, you have the test data, you have the test environment. Normally we have like, this is URL, this is a password, knock yourself out, try to test the application, and that's it. And you can also repeat the security test long after we have gone. So it's really good also to know how to read the pen testing reports from the pen testers. So the next one, what do you think? This is myth or this is a true? So do you as a software testers or you as a software QA or developer there, do you think that you have something to do with software security? Or we can say security, software security, it's actually should be concerning all of us, right? Because sometimes in some application that you're testing, your data or my data might end up. And if there is a bad guy, probably he can get this data and I wouldn't be so happy if my data is lying around. like Facebook username and passwords. Yesterday, when we were walking to the dinner, there was a tweet from Brian Krebs. It said like several hundred million usernames and passwords in clear text. So usernames and passwords in clear text from the Facebook has been found on some internet URL address. It was lying there. So let's try to test my hypothesis. Well, that I'm saying that every software or hardware tester should have at least small, tiny, positive criminal mindset. I know we are in Moscow, I know we are in Russia, and criminal mindset here, what we're seeing in, everybody, in security, when there's a breach, Russian did it, right? So criminal mindset in Russia won't be a problem, right? But I said positive. Why positive? Because it's really hard to switch. From any criminals here? Okay, no, but it's really, you have to think like a criminal. You have to break the stuff, That's your mission, and that's our mission. You have to break, you have to find, So you have to think like a hacker, because there's few differences already. Because you're talking about the defects or issues, We are talking about vulnerabilities or security issues, Mindsets, you test the normal inputs. We try to test with large numbers, with really strong, long strings. Okay, if the text box tries to get, only 16 characters, we're trying to get into like 2,000 characters and see what happens. Maybe the application crashes and sends some crazy output. How to bypass things? Are there any known paths how to bypass things? How to bypass authentication? How to bypass authorization? There are also, you need some kind of tools. Well-known, you can use well-known. You can go on Russian underground forums and use the tools. I wouldn't recommend that, because normally you can get something else. But the goal here is to abuse the break and manipulate. So that's why you need a little bit criminal mindset outside of your normal testing procedures. Okay, I took this from last 2 years of our reports, what we have found. So these are issues from our reports that we found. So HTTP and secure cookies, because probably if there is a flaw with cross-site scripting and you don't have HTTP flag set on the cookie, you could actually steal it. This can be easily done, easily found with some kind of tools. The password policies. We have seen a lot of this. The GUI, so the screen, doesn't allow you to set your password for less than 6 or 8 or 9 characters. But if you're trying to call API natively, it might be allowed that you set your password as A. And then you have a problem regarding the password policy. As you see, we found also this. And you only need a browser to test this. We have found that in local storage, there was one value, there was one parameter admin with value false. We changed it to true and hit F5 in the browser. And we were administrator in one application there. We also find that user with normal privileges, so no admin privileges, can create another user that can be administrator and set the passwords. No expiration with the cookies or with the sessions. So you actually log off. Well, the application did log off, but on the back end, the session was still keeping alive. Or you can find some vulnerable libraries used, or improper handling, error handling. So how does this look like? I try to find, this one is, if some application is spitting out this, probably not a good one. Where did I find it? Well, I just asked Google. Google, I asked something, try to dump me some application log, socket exception on a site. This is some site in Russia. I don't know where. I took it yesterday, But probably it's not good. Can testers find this? Probably yes. If you would test the application, probably somewhere would, in an application background, you would see that. Before I was talking with local storage and storing the values there. You see, this one is really easy to spot. You don't need any additional tools. You just need a browser, you click F12, and go to the application settings, and go to the local storage. And then you see that there is some kind of token which says role, see admin. If you change this to super admin, or if your role says user, and you change it and hit F5, it might end up as an admin. This is taken from real case. So, and also, to be really, let's say actual, this is from yesterday. So who is on Twitter? If you want to be up to date with security issues, go on Twitter. Follow roughly 30 to 50 people, and you will be up to date regarding the InfoSec security if you want to go there. That's one guy tweeted this yesterday. This is a call from mobile application. You see that it's doing the post to database, and you see what's this here? What's the application is doing? Actually calling the SQL. So actually it's entering into database, and also reading from the database. So selecting from there. I bet that this issue should be found. I'm sure testers should find this issue. Why? Because the mobile application is communicating with the backend, and it's sending directly SQL queries. And this shouldn't happen. And this is application that's 50,000, more than 50,000 users is using. And if you go, you see that probably this is kind of Italians, because the language is Italian, so Italian applications there. And that's reality. That's not fiction, that's reality from yesterday. Or you should try to think something else, if you find something like this, you have some in application, there is one really task, you should pick a bacon from the list, how should I pick bacon from the list? Because there is no bacon. There's just apple, lemon, mango, and orange. If you go in to see the source code, so the HTML code behind, you see that there are some values, 1, 2, 3, 4. What if you try with 5? Maybe it's a 5 there, so mango is there, so you should try to think outside of the box. That's the main thing, Also regarding the testing security, because this is not happy path, right? This is thinking outside of the box. So what does actually you have been asking yourself, what does your title has to do with testing and software? I don't know, probably you're too young. Does anybody remember Samantha Fox? No? Let's try to play. It was inspiration. Does this play? No, it won't play. No sound? Okay. But probably should be playing because she had a song in late 90s, Touch Me. That's why it was also idea for my talk. You should start touching things outside of your comfort knowledge zone if you want to do security testings. Why? Because we want, as a pen testers, to have easier life. Because we want to get rid of that low and maybe some medium issues that we need to write report. Why? Because it's easier to find them, and you can really eliminate them easier during your testing process. So, but then, again, question is, where do I start? So who is doing the security testing already? Who touches a little bit security testing? One, a little bit. Okay. Where do you start? Where did you start? Oh, okay. But at the security conference or somewhere? Or on your own? On your own. Yes. So where do you start? Okay, if we go one-on-one, so what do you need if you want to get started in security, also a little bit security testing? First, you need to know a little bit about security basics. So the terms, I won't go through, but definitely some security basics. There are plenty of resources possible to find using the Google or some other search engine, But I will talk several tools about from OWASP, and then there you have other common weakness enumeration like CVE, and then Web Application Security Consortium, threat classification, how do you sort the threats. And you should get familiar with offensive and defensive techniques, and that you can find on different mailing lists, conferences like this. And the most important thing is talk to people, because sharing is caring. I've done presentation all around the world, and trust me, we had, during these last 2 days, we had quite different conversations and talks, and we get so much new experience. So you should talk with the people, even if you think your English is not good enough. Really, try to do your best. Try to talk with the people. And the one best thing, if you're testing the web, mobile, IoT, or even serverless applications, it's OWASP. Who knows about OWASP? Okay. It's actually a free foundation, which has different kind of, let's say, supporting pillars. We have the builders who are breaking, actually the building the vulnerable applications there. We have the breakers who are creating the tools, and we have defenders who are actually writing some testing methodologies. So you're testers. Who knows testing framework guide? Who read that from OWASP? Because who said he knows OWASP? Hands up again. Okay, who read this? No? You should. Why? Because it's, okay. Why? Because it's like 200 plus pages regarding the methodology, how to test the web applications from the scratch, how to use the Google, how to use the information gathering, how to use everything else. So it's really good. It's really, really good start. It's really good start there. Probably you heard about that, right? OWASP top 10, every year, every 2 years, they make top 10 issues. If you're familiar with these 10 top issues, I bet you will find some security issues that will make you security champion of the month. Trust me. If you want to learn how to find the issues, and if you want to go with OWASP top 10, there is OWASP Security Shepherd. You can start it in a Docker. Probably, is it a problem to start some application in a Docker for the testers? Not at all. Run it, and you have for every OWASP top 10 issues, a little bit description, and then you have a practice. So you have to try on your own, try to see how does this look like, or how to change, or how to manipulate, and you have all OWASP top 10 issues there. It's also, you have additional issues, which are some are quite hard, but it's getting into your shape, so you can practice and practice and practice. Then the next thing is, who's testing web applications? What kind of the proxy? Are you using proxies? Fiddler, yes. Anybody else? Burp, Zap, Burp, yeah. Charles, Mac fans. OWASP Zap is the flagship project. It's actually a free proxy protocol. You can write it. You can run it everywhere. Simple to use. If you want to test the application, then the simple thing is put an URL here, start a tag, and go for a coffee. And you will find that that tool will find 15 to 20% of the issues that we found it. And even that, you can integrate it in your pipeline. So you can get it into your CI/CD. I'm not familiar, so every nightly you can do automatic build, and you can get the report what was wrong with that web application. OWASP covers also some other, let's say, areas, because first it was meant for web applications, then they came the mobile applications. They have also mobile top 10, but as you see, on OWASP web application, there is a SQL injection, on here on number 1, it's weak server-side controls, It's different kind of areas to test, or different kind of scenarios you need to test. But it's also very good to know what kind of top 10 security issues are with the mobile applications if you're testing them. And this is a really good start also for them. You have description of every details freely available on the web. Anybody testing the IoT? IoT stuff? Internet of Things. Gartner is saying around 2020 or 21, we're going to have like 60 millions or billions smart devices all around. They also have different kind of testing guidelines, what kind of areas you should test if you're dealing with the IoT. Because here, the biggest problem is the weak and guessable hard-coded passwords. Can you test it? Definitely. If you have an IoT device, you should try to test with some default password. Can be changed? Can be changed or can be abused? And this is really easy to test. Now, everything is moving toward the clouds and serverless applications. That's why I also created serverless top 10. So at the moment, they are collecting ideas what to be also for the next top 10. Serverless application, you see that also injection is on number 1, then it's broken authentication, then if they're still using XML, XXCs attacks, and some other security misconfiguration. So also for the serverless, we have top 10. If you're using, this is if developers are using old libraries, because normally when they start a project, they include a library and they don't update it. Here with the OWASP, you have also dependency checker that can be integrated with Jenkins. Today they said who's using Jenkins, but still you can integrate it and you can get report as a tester. You can get the report. Old libraries with CVEs, so with common vulnerabilities, are used in that project that developer made. So you can get the report, see that, okay, this one has like 6 issues, 2 of them are critical, every morning. So if the developer changes the library, you will get a report. So it can be easily used also with the tools. So what other tools can be used? Definitely also our best tool is browser. It's simple, it's effective, and you will find it on all operating systems, right? But you have to armor it. So use some kind of add-ons. There are plenty of hacking add-ons, so it will try to help you with hacking the web application. Intercepting proxy is a must. Use whatever you like. We are using this. It's the best, let's say, investment. It's the best return on investment. So it's around 300 euros per year, but it's really, really good one. So if you're testing, you should try to convince your bosses, QA managers or bosses that they should invest in this. Or Charles for a Mac fans. If you're testing the mobile applications, look into mobile security framework. Actually, could be run also with a Docker. So it's really simple to use. You just pull out the APK for the Android, put it on, and you get a report. What kind of issues are in mobile applications? It's really simple and it's really effective. Okay. As I said already, you need to awake that part of your criminal mind. The other thing, it's really good if you want to get into the security and security testing, bug bounties. Probably English is not a problem. Read bug bounties, and you will see how the hackers think, or how did they find vulnerabilities that they are paying out 15, 20, even 50,000 US dollars or euros for that. Hacking walkthroughs. So how do hackers hack the applications? IPSec, if you Google IPSec on YouTube, you will see how the hackers actually map the application, how they attack it, how they abuse it. Maybe you should also check some new vulnerabilities and get your hands dirty. In Docker world, it's really easy to set up some, let's say, vulnerable applications that some of them we're going to see later. So for example, here on the Medium bug bounty write-up, there are really good bug bounty write-ups. How did the hackers find these vulnerabilities? And it can really help you as a testers to find them in a testing process. For those advanced, there is a Hack the Box platform, which is meant for attacking, so virtual labs. You can actually join and attack the web apps. You can reverse engineer. You can attack mobiles. This one is done in Europe, but also in Russia, you have Pentest IT. It's the same similar platform in Russia. So if you don't trust EU, go to Russia. So It's really nice. This screenshot was taken today. You see, there are already labs there, so you can attack and defend there. Okay, you should start practicing. If you fail, remember this. You know, postorenie matuchenia, something like this. You know? And if you testing the web application, try to Google with damn vulnerable. You have the Dockers, you have the virtual machines already ready. Damn vulnerable web applications, damn vulnerable FAT applications, damn vulnerable mobile application, damn vulnerable web services, damn vulnerable router, router, and serverless application. If you Google, you will find all the Dockers so you can practice. So you can try a little bit to see how is this done. Or then, it's not only the damn vulnerable, but extremely vulnerable web application. If you want to start with web applications, these are real cases and real updated cases covered. Easy startup, easy setup, just Docker run this application, and you have all the critical issues that can be found in different web applications. So if you really want to start, there are some other more resources as here. So HackMe, it's also one good because it starts special virtual machine just for you. So you can hack it legally. We are talking about legal hacking. And there is in a link, probably you're going to get the slides, you also have like legal hacking web services, whole 124. But if you're using Google, also this helps. Free hacking trainings, and you will get the trainings. So the other way to start is gamification. You know, we have seen the companies that are starting, you know, some, you know, in a company during the testers or even the developers start to small task, you know, and I don't know, vote for top security tester of the month, you know, give some challenges, but this is the part where managers should jump into, because with gamification, you know, you can get really good results. But sometimes, you know, it's also, you know, is there any light at the end of the tunnel, you know? Is it possible to the testers also to test the security? Well, it is. You know, it might be that there is a light, but might be the train that's coming and gonna run over you on the other side. But some other things that needs to be taken care of. We need not to educate only the testers, but we need to educate the whole ecosystem. Yesterday, they have been the first keynote was about the secure development lifecycle. So we need to educate all of these, you know, also the developers. Because, as I said, developers are not taught, they are not teach how to do secure programming. They are just going to do application, they're going to do web application, mobile application. Is it secure? Well, we think it's secure. But you're now here with, I'm also speaking to developers and also security professional like Chief Information Security Officer, and probably that executives and system owners, because investing in security doesn't mean loss of money, but it's actually investment. So at the end, you know, why we are talking about security at the testing conference? You know, does somebody knows what's catch with that image? Do you know the FedEx? Yes. Do you see something special? Let's test that logo. Does somebody notice something special in that logo? Only one? Okay. Yeah. Who sees error? You are testers. You should test this. Who sees error? Who doesn't see arrow? Hands up. Okay, you see here's an arrow, right? Yeah. That's why it's important. If you don't see how the web application and what kind of issues can you find in an application, you don't see that arrow. But now if we go back and we go again, do you see error now? Yes. Why? Because your brains learn that pattern. It's the same with security issue. Your brains learn that pattern, and next time you're going to find security issues in the application that you're testing. And of course, Why security is even more important? Because if you want to switch the jobs, you know, Europe is going to be like, until 2020, they're going to be needing 350,000 security professionals. And security testers are very good material to switch to the other side, you know. And the security business is paying much more than testing, you know. And of course, the last, that's the really last, because they're hurrying me, you have to do, if you're testing, do it with passion. Because I haven't seen so many passionate testers last 2 days here. So whatever you do, do it with passion, and that's the end. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see just the questions. Let me try to hack this. Let's see. Wow. Good sec test should have knowledge of non-security vulnerabilities so they can expose them. Do you agree? How normal QA become good sec tests? How normal QA start digging, start to playing with an applications. Download some vulnerable applications, start playing with them. Go to the conference, go to see the walkthroughs. How did they hack? Bug bounty reports. It's really large amount of knowledge there. How did they find application vulnerabilities? And you should go that path. So if you read, make a goal. Every Friday I'm going to read what bug bounty report. It's going to help a lot. And try to read that bug bounty reports. At the beginning, try to read that with lower bug bounty rewards, like 100, 500, because otherwise you won't understand it. Then start a little bit further, and then start with 15,000. You will be probably, definitely, trust me, you're gonna progress, and you're gonna start touching security issues, not yourself. So you're gonna start touching it. Any other questions? Don't be shy. I won't touch you. I won't bite. Okay.
Hello. I have a question. From your experience, how to convince the product owner to dedicate resource for the security and time for this in the company?
Yeah, that's really interesting question. How to persuade? Actually, you need to tell them, you know, that one crazy guy from Slovenia, he said you should start touching them. Yeah. No, really, but anyway, especially if your application have, let's see. What's the easiest way? I don't know if you have paid attention here on the beginning of the slides. The easiest ways to persuade them. Let's see if my magic skills are working. You see, here this arrow, these are the costs. So if you find security issue here, it's cost less than as it's found here. It's simple like that. So if you find security issue here, it's going to cost less than if you find it here, or if you find it here as a bug bounty, or I don't know, Facebook. So that's one good reason to persuade them that it's going to cost less. Because at the end, everything ends at the money. So you should try this. If not, thank you very much. Enjoy the conference.